Imagine a structure so ancient, so monumental, that its purpose echoes through thousands of years. We're talking about the Menga Dolmen in southern Spain, a megalithic marvel that continues to reveal its secrets. What if I told you that this prehistoric tomb, built nearly 6,000 years ago, was still considered a sacred place almost 4 millennia after its creation? New research is completely changing how we understand the legacy of these ancient sites. Let's journey back in time to the Neolithic period, around 3800 BC. In what is now Antequera, in Spain's beautiful Andalusia region, a community undertook an incredible feat of engineering. They quarried, transported, and erected massive stone slabs, some weighing up to 150 tons, to create the Menga Dolmen. This wasn't just a building, it was a statement. A colossal passage tomb, a chamber of the dead, aligned not with the sunrise, but with a nearby mountain peak shaped like a human face, La Pina de los Enamorados. This unique alignment suggests a deep connection between the people, their ancestors, and the landscape itself. For centuries, Menga served as a communal tomb, a final resting place for the elites of the society that built it. The bones of hundreds of individuals were interred here, a testament to its central role in their culture and beliefs. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. As societies evolved, as the Bronze Age gave way to the Iron Age, and as empires rose and fell, what happened to Menga? You might expect it to fall into ruin, forgotten by time. And for a while, it seemed that way. After its initial use, the dolmen was sealed and lay dormant for thousands of years. The world outside changed dramatically. New peoples, new languages, and new religions swept across the Iberian Peninsula. Yet the silent, imposing presence of Menga remained. It stood as a mysterious landmark, a powerful relic of a distant past that people couldn't just ignore. The sheer scale of it must have sparked awe and wonder in everyone who saw it. Who built this and why? Fast forward to the 7th and 8th centuries AD. This is the Visigothic period, just before the Muslim conquest of Spain. A very different world from the one that created Menga, and yet something drew people back to this ancient place. Archaeologists recently made a startling discovery. Within the dolmen's main chamber, near the entrance, they found 2 distinct burials. These were not the jumbled, communal bones of the Neolithic. These were individual, articulated skeletons, carefully laid to rest. What does this mean? It means that nearly 4,000 years after Menga was sealed, people were once again using it as a tomb. This is where cutting-edge science comes in. Researchers conducted a detailed analysis of these medieval remains. Using radiocarbon dating, they pinpointed the burials to a period between the 7th and 8th centuries. But they didn't stop there. They went deeper into the very genetic code of the individuals. Ancient DNA analysis revealed that these 2 people were locals. Their genetic makeup was consistent with the Iberian populations of that time. This wasn't a case of foreign invaders stumbling upon an old tomb. These were people from the surrounding region who knew this landscape and its history. So, who were they? The first individual, found right at the entrance, was a woman. She was relatively healthy, though she had some minor dental issues. The second, buried a bit further inside, was a man. His skeleton told a more difficult story. He had suffered several traumatic injuries throughout his life, including healed fractures in his pelvis, left leg, and left arm. He also had a severe unhealed fracture in his right foot, which likely occurred at the time of his death. This suggests he might have died from a fall or a violent incident. What's truly intriguing is their diet. Isotope analysis showed they ate a terrestrial diet typical for the region. But the man had a slightly higher intake of marine protein, suggesting a connection to coastal trade networks, even though Antequera is inland. The big question is, why bury them here? By the 7th century, Christianity was the dominant religion in the region. Standard practice was burial in a church cemetery with specific Christian rites. Burying someone inside a prehistoric, pagan monument was highly unusual. It was a deliberate choice, a significant deviation from the norm. This wasn't a clandestine burial to hide a crime. The placement was respectful, right in the main chamber. It suggests that Menga had been reappropriated. It was once again seen as a special, powerful place, a place worthy of the dead, but its meaning had likely changed. To the Neolithic builders, it was a home for their collective ancestors. To these medieval people, it was probably something else entirely. Perhaps it was seen as a link to a mythical, heroic past. In a time of political instability, with the Visigothic kingdom weakening, people often look back to ancient symbols for strength and legitimacy. Menga, with its superhuman scale, would have been the perfect symbol. It represented permanence, power, and a deep-rooted connection to the land. Burying their dead here could have been a way for a family to assert their status, to claim a lineage connected to the ancient, almost supernatural, builders of the dolmen. Imagine the folklore and legends that must have surrounded this place. People would have called them ogres' caves or giants' houses. They were remnants of a forgotten time, imbued with magic and mystery. By choosing Menga as a final resting place, these medieval communities were not just burying their dead. They were making a powerful statement. They were weaving their own lives into the epic tapestry of this monumental landscape. They were claiming a piece of its ancient power for themselves. This act of burial transformed Menga from a relic of the past into a living part of their present. It shows an incredible continuity of symbolic importance, a thread connecting the Neolithic to the Middle Ages. This discovery is part of a bigger picture we're seeing across Europe. From Stonehenge in England to Newgrange in Ireland, we're finding that megalithic monuments were rarely just abandoned. They were revisited, reused, and reinterpreted for millennia. They acted as anchors in the cultural landscape, their meanings shifting and evolving with each new generation that encountered them. The story of Menga is a spectacular example of this phenomenon. It wasn't a static monument, but a dynamic site that people continually engaged with. What's next for Menga? The site, along with its neighboring dolmens and the Pina de los Enamorados, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its outstanding universal value. The research is ongoing. Scientists hope to find more evidence that could tell us more about the people who used this site throughout its long history. Were there other burials from different periods? What other rituals might have taken place here? Each new discovery adds another layer to its complex story. The tale of the Menga Dolmen is a powerful reminder that the past is never truly dead. It lives on in the landscape, in the stones, and in the stories we tell. It shows us how human societies, even when separated by thousands of years, can find meaning and connection in the very same places. These two medieval skeletons, resting in the heart of a Neolithic giant, have given us a priceless insight into the enduring power of sacred spaces. They are a bridge across time, connecting us to the deep, long history of human belief and reverence. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. It's incredible what modern science can teach us about our ancient ancestors. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into our amazing past. Let me know in the comments what you think about this incredible discovery. Until next time, stay curious. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time to ancient Egypt, where an incredible new discovery is rewriting what we know about life and death along the Nile. Archaeologists have just unearthed something truly special in the Western Nile Delta. And it's a double whammy, a massive industrial complex and a Roman-era cemetery, both packed with secrets waiting to be revealed. Imagine bustling workshops, skilled artisans, and the solemn rituals of laying loved ones to rest, all happening in the same area, just centuries apart. This isn't just about finding old stuff. It's about piecing together a vibrant picture of an ancient society. We're talking about the economy, the daily grind, and the deeply personal beliefs of people who lived thousands of years ago. So grab your virtual explorer's hat, because we're about to dig deep into this fascinating find and uncover the stories it has to tell. The discovery was made at a site called Qam al-Ahmar, which translates to the Red Hill. An Egyptian archaeological mission, led by the Supreme Council of Antiquities, was excavating the area when they stumbled upon this remarkable site. What they found was an extensive industrial complex dating back to the late period and the early Ptolemaic period. This puts it roughly between the 7th and 3rd centuries BC. Think about that for a moment. This was a time of immense change in Egypt, with Persian rule giving way to the Greek Ptolemaic dynasty, founded by one of Alexander the Great's generals. This complex gives us a direct window into the economic backbone of the region during this turbulent era. It wasn't just a small-scale operation, it was a full-blown industrial zone. The archaeologists uncovered workshops for pottery, forges for metalworking, and facilities for producing alabaster and other stone crafts. It's like finding an ancient business park. Let's start with the pottery workshops. These weren't just for making simple bowls and jars. The team found a variety of kilns and shaping wheels, indicating a sophisticated level of production. They unearthed countless pottery shards, but also some beautifully preserved vessels. These include storage jars, likely used for grain, wine, or oil, and finer tableware that would have graced the homes of the wealthy. What's really exciting is the different styles of pottery they found. Some pieces are distinctly Egyptian, following traditions that were thousands of years old. Others show clear Greek influences, a testament to the cultural fusion happening during the Ptolemaic period. This tells us that the artisans here were not only skilled, but also adaptable, catering to a diverse market of both local Egyptians and the new Greek ruling class. Each pot, each shard, tells a story of trade, cultural exchange, and daily life. Next up, the metalworking forges. This is where things get really heated, literally. The archaeologists found evidence of furnaces and crucibles used for melting and casting metals like bronze and iron. They discovered tools, slag, which is the waste product of smelting, and even some unfinished metal objects. This suggests that the workshops were producing a wide range of goods, from agricultural tools like sickles and plowshares to weapons and decorative items. The ability to work metal was a sign of a technologically advanced society, and this discovery at Qam al-Ahmar shows that this region was a significant hub of production. It wasn't just a sleepy agricultural area. It was a place of innovation and industry, contributing to the wider economy of the Ptolemaic kingdom. The smoke from these forges would have been a constant sight, a symbol of the region's productivity. Perhaps one of the most elegant discoveries within the industrial zone was the evidence of alabaster workshops. Alabaster, a beautiful translucent stone, was highly prized in ancient Egypt and was often used for creating luxury items. The team found raw blocks of alabaster, specialized carving tools, and unfinished statues and vessels. This indicates that skilled sculptors and craftsmen were at work here, transforming rough stone into works of art. These items would have been incredibly valuable, likely destined for temples, palaces, or the tombs of the elite. The presence of these workshops highlights the wealth and artistic sophistication of the area. It shows that this industrial complex wasn't just about practical goods. It was also a center for creating objects of immense beauty and cultural significance. It connects the dots between the raw materials of the earth and the high art of a civilization. But the story doesn't end there. As the team continued their excavation, they made another, completely different kind of discovery. Lying above the ruins of the industrial complex was part of a cemetery, or necropolis, from the Roman period, which began in 30 BC after the death of Cleopatra. It's a fascinating layering of history. The bustling workshops fell silent, and centuries later, the same ground became a sacred space for the dead. This Ramong necropolis offers a completely different, yet equally important, perspective on the people who lived here. The tombs are constructed from mud brick and have vaulted ceilings, a common architectural style for the period. Inside, the archaeologists found the remains of individuals laid to rest, but what truly captivated them were the burial practices. The burials revealed a stunning blend of Egyptian and Roman traditions. While the Romans had conquered Egypt, the ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife were deeply ingrained and didn't just disappear. The archaeologists found that many of the deceased were buried with funerary masks made of cartonnage, a type of ancient papier mâché and decorated with gold leaf. This is a classic Egyptian practice meant to preserve the identity of the deceased for their journey into the afterlife. However, the artistic style of some of these masks and other grave goods showed distinct Roman influences. For example, the facial features might be more naturalistic, in the Roman portraiture style, rather than the idealized forms of traditional Egyptian art. This fusion is a powerful visual representation of the cultural melting pot that was Roman Egypt. It shows people holding on to their ancient traditions while adapting to the new world they lived in. One of the most poignant finds in the necropolis was a collection of terracotta statues depicting goddesses like Isis and Harpocrates, often shown as a child with his finger to his lips. These were placed in the tombs as protective figures, meant to guide and safeguard the deceased on their perilous journey through the underworld. The continued worship of these traditional Egyptian deities, even under Ramong rule, speaks volumes. It shows that for the ordinary people of the Nile Delta, their spiritual world remained profoundly Egyptian. They may have been Roman citizens, but their souls were still tied to the gods and goddesses who had watched over their ancestors for millennia. These small statues are not just artifacts. They are symbols of faith, hope, and the enduring power of belief in the face of immense political and cultural change. Furthermore, the team discovered a variety of grave goods buried with the individuals. These included lamps to light the way in the darkness of the tomb, and unguentaria, which are small ceramic or glass bottles that would have held perfumes or sacred oils. These items were essential components of the funerary ritual. They weren't just possessions. They were tools for the afterlife. The presence of these objects helps us understand the specific rituals and beliefs surrounding death and burial in this community. By studying what people chose to take with them into eternity, we get a deeply personal insight into what they valued and feared. It's a direct connection to their hopes for an eternal life, a life beyond the world of the living. So, what does this all mean when we put it together? The discovery at Kam al-Ahmar is incredibly significant because it gives us two distinct yet connected snapshots of life and death in the same location, separated by a few hundred years. First, we have the Ptolemaic industrial complex, a testament to the region's economic vitality, craftsmanship, and its role in a globalized Hellenistic world. It paints a picture of a thriving, productive community. Then, layered on top, we have the Roman necropolis, a sacred landscape that reveals the complex spiritual lives of the people who came later. It shows a community navigating a new political reality while fiercely holding on to its ancestral beliefs, creating a unique hybrid culture. This site is a microcosm of Egyptian history itself, a story of industry, invasion, and adaptation, where the old and the new are constantly blending together. The work at Kam al-Ahmar is far from over. The archaeologists believe that what they've uncovered so far is just a fraction of what the site has to offer. Future excavations could reveal more workshops, more tombs, and perhaps even residential areas, which would give us an even more complete picture of this ancient community. Each new artifact, each newly excavated structure, adds another piece to the puzzle. It's a slow, meticulous process, but it's how we bring the past back to life. These discoveries aren't just for academics. They are part of our shared human heritage. They remind us that beneath the soil of our modern world lie countless stories of people who lived, worked, loved, and dreamed, just like we do today. This find in the Nile Delta is another chapter in that amazing, ongoing story. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. Discoveries like this are a powerful reminder of the rich and complex history that lies just beneath our feet. What part of this discovery did you find most fascinating? The bustling workshops or the blended burial traditions? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on the latest archaeological finds from around the world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep exploring. Ever felt like history is a finished book with all the chapters written? Well, get ready, because archaeologists just found a new chapter, and it's a blockbuster. We're talking about a discovery in Ireland that is completely flipping the script on the Bronze Age. Imagine this, a massive, bustling town, a true metropolis of its time, hidden in plain sight. This isn't some fantasy city. It's the Brussels town Ring Hilford in County Wicklow. And scientists have just realized it's the largest prehistoric settlement ever found in Ireland or Britain. This is a game changer. For years, the prevailing idea was that Bronze Age Ireland was sparsely populated, made up of small, scattered farmsteads. Think quiet, rural, and decentralized. But Brussels town Ring tells a completely different story. It suggests a society far more complex, organized, and populous than we ever dared to imagine. So what exactly did they find? using cutting-edge technology like LiDAR, which is like a laser-powered X-ray for the landscape, and combining it with older aerial photography and geophysical surveys, researchers peered beneath the surface without digging a single hole. What they saw was astounding. Evidence of over 600 individual houses packed within the protective walls of this massive hillfort. Let that sink in. 600 homes. This wasn't just a fort. It was a city. A sprawling, nucleated settlement where thousands of people lived, worked, and interacted. This discovery forces us to ask some incredible new questions. Who were these people? How was their society structured to support such a large population? We're talking about a level of social organization that archaeologists previously thought did and exist in Ireland, until centuries later with the arrival of the Romans in Britain. To have a settlement of this scale, you need sophisticated systems for food production, water management, trade, and governance. You need leaders, craftspeople, farmers, and warriors all living together. Let's take a virtual walk through this ancient city. The Brussels town ring isn't just one big circle. It's a complex of enclosures with an inner ring and a massive outer ring that spans a huge area. The houses weren't just scattered randomly. They were arranged in organized clusters, perhaps based on family groups or specific trades. You might have had a metalworker's quarter, a potter's area, and residential zones, all humming with the activity of daily life. The air would have been filled with the sounds of hammers striking bronze, children playing, and livestock milling about. It would have been a vibrant, dynamic community. The sheer size is breathtaking. The outer enclosure of Brussels town ring is enormous, and within it, the density of dwellings points to a population that could have been in the thousands. This concentration of people in one place would have made it a regional powerhouse. It was likely a center of political authority, economic activity, and religious ceremony. The leaders who controlled this hillfort would have wielded immense influence over the surrounding lands. They could command large numbers of people, not just for defense, but for large-scale projects, like building the very ramparts that enclose their city. This also changes how we view warfare and defense in the Bronze Age. Why build such a massive fort? The logical answer is protection. The existence of such a large, fortified city suggests a period of instability or conflict. Perhaps different powerful groups were competing for resources and territory. The people of Brussels town ring were investing a tremendous amount of labor and resources into their security, building huge earthen banks and deep ditches to keep enemies at bay. This city wasn't just a place to live. It was a fortress designed to project power and ensure survival. Moreover, the discovery connects Ireland more closely to a wider European trend. Similar large, fortified settlements were emerging across mainland Europe during the Late Bronze Age. Finding one on this scale in Ireland shows that the island wasn't some isolated backwater. It was part of a network of trade, communication, and conflict that stretched across the continent. The people of Brussels town weren't just Irish. They were part of a connected Bronze Age world, sharing ideas, technologies, and likely a fair bit of drama. One of the most exciting aspects of this research is that it's just the beginning. The use of non-invasive technologies means we can learn a tremendous amount without disturbing the site. But it also lays the groundwork for future, targeted excavations. Imagine what we could learn by carefully excavating just one or two of these house sites. We could uncover tools, pottery, and personal items that would tell us about the daily lives of the people who lived there. We could find out what they ate, what they wore, and what they believed in. This kind of discovery is a powerful reminder that the past is not static. It's constantly being revised and rewritten by new evidence and new technologies. What we think we know today might be completely different tomorrow. It's a detective story that spans millennia, and every new clue, like the city hidden at Brussels town ring, brings the ancient world into sharper focus. It makes you wonder what other secrets are still buried beneath our feet, just waiting for the right moment and the right technology to be revealed. The story of our ancestors is far richer and more complex than we ever knew. Thanks for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this as fascinating as we did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from the past. Let us know in the comments what you think this ancient city was like. Until next time, keep exploring. History isn't just about dusty books and ancient texts. Sometimes it's hidden right beneath our feet, waiting to be rediscovered. And recently, archaeologists in Jerusalem made a discovery that brings us face to face with the daily life of a city on the brink of one of history's most dramatic events. So, what did they find? A perfectly preserved 2,000-year-old ritual bath tucked away beneath the bustling Western Wall Plaza. This isn't just any old structure. This is what's known as a mikveh, a special bath used for ritual purification in Judaism. Imagine, people walked these very same steps, preparing for their sacred duties at the Second Temple, which stood majestically nearby. This mikveh offers a tangible link to the spiritual world of Jerusalemites just before everything changed. The team behind this incredible find from the Israel Antiquities Authority were actually working on a project to build new elevators to make the Western Wall more accessible. As they dug down, they peeled back layers of history, eventually hitting something truly special. It was a chamber meticulously carved directly into the bedrock of the ancient city. What makes this mikveh so significant is its condition. It was found sealed beneath a thick, heavy layer of debris, a layer of destruction. This wasn't just dirt and rubble. It was the direct aftermath of the Roman legion's conquest and razing of Jerusalem. In the year 70 CE, for nearly 2 millennia, this site remained untouched, a silent witness, perfectly preserved in its final moments of use. Let us dive deeper into what a mikveh is and why it was so central to life in Second Temple period Jerusalem. In Jewish law, ritual purity was essential for participating in temple services. A mikveh is a purpose-built pool that collects natural rainwater. By immersing oneself in its waters, a person could achieve a state of ritual purity. This wasn't about physical cleanliness like taking a bath. It was a profound spiritual act. Think about the context. The Second Temple was the heart of Jewish life. Pilgrims from all over the ancient world would travel to Jerusalem, and before ascending the Temple Mount, they would need to purify themselves. So the area around the temple would have been filled with these mikvehs, catering to thousands of people. Finding one in such pristine condition, so close to the Western Wall, the last remaining remnant of the temple complex, is like finding a key that unlocks a forgotten door to the past. The archaeologists described the mikveh in detail. It has steps leading down into the water basin, all hewn from the natural rock. The walls were coated with a special plaster, typical of the Second Temple period, to ensure the water wouldn't seep out. Everything about its construction followed the strict religious laws governing how a mikveh should be built and maintained. Inside the antechamber of the bath, the excavation team found even more clues. They uncovered fragments of pottery, mostly jars used for storing water or oil, that date precisely to the period between the reign of Herod the Great and the destruction of the city. These are not grand treasures, but they are incredibly valuable because they are the everyday objects of everyday people. They also found pieces of stone vessels, which were common at the time because, unlike pottery, stone was not susceptible to ritual impurity. But perhaps the most poignant discovery was found within the destruction layer itself. Charred wooden beams and pieces of burned pottery were scattered throughout the rubble that filled the mikveh. These are the physical scars of the Roman siege. You can almost picture the chaos and devastation as the city burned. The mikveh, once a place of serene spiritual preparation, was violently filled with the debris of a falling city, its purpose abruptly ended. The lead archaeologists, Shlomit Wexler-Dolek and her team, have emphasized how this discovery gives us a glimpse into the final moments of life in Jerusalem before its fall. It's one thing to read about the destruction in the writings of historians like Josephus Flavius. It's another thing entirely to touch the stones and see the scorch marks from that very event. It connects us to the people who lived through it in a deeply personal way. This mikveh was located right on the main road that led up to the Temple Mount. Imagine a bustling street filled with merchants, scholars, families, and pilgrims. This road was the city's main artery. And right there, nestled into the rock, was this private space for reflection and purification. It tells a story of a society where faith was woven into the very fabric of daily urban life. It wasn't something separate. It was part of the journey, part of the landscape, The discovery also helps us map out ancient Jerusalem with greater accuracy. By pinpointing the exact location of this mikveh, researchers can better understand the layout of the lower city and the infrastructure that supported the temple. Every find like this is a piece of a giant historical puzzle. And this piece fits perfectly, confirming what we know from ancient texts while adding rich new detail. What's next for this amazing site? The Israel Antiquities Authority, in cooperation with the Western Wall Heritage Foundation, plans to incorporate the mikveh into the new Western Wall Tunnels tour complex. This means that soon, visitors from all over the world will be able to walk down into this space and experience it for themselves. They can see the rock-cut steps, the ancient plaster, and imagine the people who used it 2,000 years ago. It will no longer be a hidden chamber, but a living part of Jerusalem's ongoing story. It's discoveries like these that remind us that history is all around us. It's not a distant, abstract concept. It's real, it's physical, and sometimes it's waiting just a few meters below a modern city street. This mikveh is more than just an archaeological find. It's a time capsule. It captures a moment of deep faith and daily devotion, frozen in time by a cataclysmic event. It is a powerful testament to the resilience of human heritage and our unending quest to connect with our past. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories from history, and let me know in the comments what you think about this incredible discovery. See you in the next video. What if I told you that the story of our earliest ancestors leaving Africa, a story we've been told for decades, might be completely wrong? For the longest time, the scientific consensus was pretty straightforward. About 1.8 million years ago, a single pioneering species called Homo erectus was the first of our kind to venture out of the African continent. They were the trailblazers, the sole adventurers who spread humanity across the globe. This was the clean, simple narrative taught in textbooks and shown in documentaries. But what if the real story was a lot more crowded and a lot more interesting? Get ready to have your mind blown, because a groundbreaking new study is shaking the very foundations of human evolution. The evidence comes from a remarkable archaeological site called the Menisi, nestled in the country of Georgia. For years, Menisi has been a treasure trove for paleontologists, yielding some of the oldest hominin fossils ever found outside of Africa. These fossils, all dating back to that crucial 1.8 million-year-old period, were initially thought to belong to a regional variant of Homo erectus. It made sense. They fit the timeline and the prevailing theory. But science is all about questioning, re-examining, and looking closer. A team of researchers decided to do just that. They took a fresh, detailed look at the Menisi fossils, specifically focusing on a part of the skeleton that tells a fascinating story: the shoulder. Their findings, recently published in the scientific journal PLOS ONE, are turning everything we thought we knew on its head. The study suggests that the group of early humans at Menisi wasn't a uniform population of Homo erectus at all. Instead, it seems they were a surprisingly diverse bunch. So what exactly did they find in these ancient shoulder bones? The analysis revealed a mix of traits. Some of the shoulder characteristics were very modern, closely resembling those of Homo sapiens. That's us. These features suggest an ability for efficient, long-distance running and tool use, hallmarks of a species adapted to life on the ground. This fits perfectly with the classic image of Homo erectus, the skilled hunter and traveler. But here's where it gets wild. Other shoulder bones from the very same site showed much more primitive, ape-like features. These primitive traits are more suited for climbing and spending time in trees. To have both types of shoulder anatomy present in the same place at the same time is a massive puzzle. It's like finding a brand new sports car parked next to a horse-drawn carriage and being told they both came from the same factory on the same day. It just doesn't add up under the old model. This discovery has led to a radical new hypothesis. The first great migration out of Africa was in a solo act by Homo erectus. It might have been a group event, an exodus involving multiple species of early humans. Imagine a world 1.8 million years ago, not with one type of human ancestor exploring new lands, but with a diverse cast of characters. Some were better adapted for life on the open plains, while others still retained the ability to navigate the forests. They might have lived side by side, competed for resources, or even interacted in ways we can only begin to imagine. This completely changes the picture of our evolutionary journey. Instead of a single, linear path where one species neatly replaces another, the reality was likely a much more complex and dynamic mosaic of different hominins coexisting and spreading across the landscape. The Dmanisi site, therefore, might not just be a simple outpost of Homo erectus. It could be a snapshot of a multi-species migration event. Think about what this means. It forces us to reconsider the very definition of early Homo. Was Homo erectus as uniform as we thought? Or was the name Homo erectus just a convenient label we slapped onto a whole range of different-looking hominins? Some scientists are now suggesting that the variation we see at Dmanisi is so great that it could impossibly be contained within a single species. The individuals with the primitive, upward-oriented shoulders might belong to an entirely different, as yet unnamed species, or perhaps they were a late-surviving population of an earlier hominin, like Australopithecus, that managed to journey all the way to Georgia. This isn't the first time Dmanisi has stirred up controversy. A few years ago, the discovery of a skull known as Skull 5 at the site also caused a major debate. Skull 5 had a small brain case but a large, projecting face, a combination of features that challenged the clear-cut definitions of early human species. At the time, it led some researchers to propose that maybe all these different species, Homo habilis, Homo rudolfensis, Homo erectus, were actually just variations within a single evolving lineage. The new shoulder study adds another powerful layer to this argument. It provides postcranial evidence, that is, evidence from the body, not just the skull, that supports the idea of extreme diversity. The shoulder is a critical part of the skeleton for understanding how an animal moves and interacts with its environment. A shoulder built for climbing is fundamentally different from one built for throwing and running. Finding both in one place strongly implies that there were different lifestyles, and therefore potentially different species living together. So, what could have prompted this multi-species exodus from Africa? The environment of that period was undergoing significant changes. The climate was shifting, creating new grasslands and opening up corridors for migration. This likely pushed various hominin groups to explore new territories in search of food and resources. It wasn't necessarily a single, heroic journey, but perhaps a more gradual expansion with different groups moving out in waves, each with their own unique set of adaptations and skills. This new perspective is incredibly exciting because it paints a much richer and more realistic picture of our past. Evolution isn't a neat and tidy ladder, it's a messy, branching bush. And it seems the branch that led to us was intertwined with many others, especially during this critical period of global expansion. The Dmanisi fossils are like a time capsule, giving us a glimpse into this complex world. They show us that 1.8 million years ago, the human family was diverse, experimental, and on the move. Of course, this is still a developing story. This new study is a major piece of the puzzle, but more research is needed. Scientists will continue to analyze the Dmanisi fossils and search for new sites that can shed more light on this period. They'll be looking for more skeletons, more tools, and more environmental data to reconstruct the lives of these early pioneers. What we can say for sure is that the simple story of Homo erectus, the lone wanderer, is no longer the only story in town. The exit from Africa was likely a far more complex affair. A pivotal moment in our history when the world was populated not by one but by multiple kinds of early humans. It makes you wonder what other surprises are still buried beneath the earth, waiting to rewrite the story of us. It's a powerful reminder that our understanding of the past is always evolving, just like we did. Thanks so much for watching. If you're fascinated by the incredible story of human evolution, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the latest scientific discoveries. Let us know in the comments what you think about this incredible new find. See you next time. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're journeying back in time over 3,000 years ago to Bronze Age Ireland. For a long time, archaeologists believed that prehistoric Ireland was a sparsely populated landscape, dotted with small, isolated farmsteads. The idea of large, organized towns or settlements just didn't seem to fit the picture. But what if I told you that a recent discovery has completely shattered that image, revealing a bustling, thriving community that could be considered one of prehistoric Europe's first major population centers? Get ready, because this story is a game changer. We're heading to County Wicklow in Eastern Ireland to a place called the Brussels Town Ring for years. This site has been known as a hill fort, a type of earthen enclosure common from the Bronze and Iron Ages. But no one truly understood its scale or significance until a team of dedicated researchers decided to take a much closer look. Using a combination of cutting-edge geophysical surveys and old-school archaeological digging, they uncovered something extraordinary. Hidden beneath the soil, the evidence was undeniable. They found the remains of not 10, not 50, but over 600 individual dwellings packed within the hill fort's massive earthen ramparts. Let that sink in for a moment. 600 houses. This wasn't just a fort. It was a sprawling, nucleated settlement, a town. To date, it's the largest settlement of its kind ever identified in prehistoric Britain or Ireland. This discovery, recently published in the prestigious journal Antiquity, is forcing us to completely rethink what life was like during the Late Bronze Age, around 900 to 600 BC. So, what did this ancient town look like? The Brussels Town Ring is actually a series of enclosures. The main inner enclosure, known as Brussels Town Ring itself, sits atop a hill and covers about 38 hectares. That's huge. But it doesn't stop there. It's connected to another, even larger outer enclosure called Spinnan's Hill, bringing the total enclosed area to a staggering 150 hectares. To put that into perspective, that's like 370 acres. Within these protective walls, hundreds of roundhouses were neatly arranged, each one likely home to a family. The geophysical surveys, which are like getting an X-ray of the ground without digging, revealed the footprints of these houses. They appeared as distinct circular anomalies in the data. To confirm what they were seeing, the archaeologists conducted targeted excavations. They dug trenches and unearthed post holes where the timber supports for the roundhouse walls once stood. They also found hearths, the central fireplaces that were the heart of every Bronze Age home, used for cooking, warmth, and light. What's really fascinating is what this tells us about the people who lived here. A settlement of this size would have been home to several thousand individuals. This wasn't a temporary camp or a simple defensive outpost. This was a permanent, vibrant community. The sheer number of people living so closely together implies a level of social organization far more complex than previously imagined for this period. You don't just accidentally build a town for thousands of people. It requires planning, leadership, and cooperation on a massive scale. Imagine the daily life in this Bronze Age metropolis. The air would have been filled with the sounds of people talking, children playing, and artisans at work. Archaeologists found evidence of various crafts. There were metalworkers forging bronze tools, weapons, and ornaments. The discovery of clay mold fragments for axes and swords confirms that this was a center for sophisticated metal production. The inhabitants were likely trading these valuable goods with other communities near and far. They also found evidence of pottery making and textile production, with spindle whorls used for spinning yarn. This wasn't just a military site. It was an economic powerhouse, a hub of industry and craft. The people living here weren't just subsistence farmers. They were specialized artisans, traders, and builders. This level of economic activity is another key piece of the puzzle that challenges the old view of a simple agrarian society. And what about their food? The residents of the Brussels Town Ring were farmers. Analysis of ancient pollen and seeds shows they were cultivating crops like barley and wheat. They also raised livestock, cattle, sheep, and pigs. Living on a hill fort provided a commanding view of the surrounding landscape, allowing them to oversee and protect their valuable farmlands and pastures spread across the valleys below. The community had to be incredibly organized to manage the food supply for thousands of people. The construction of the hill fort itself is a monumental feat. The massive earthen banks and ditches that form the enclosures would have required a colossal amount of labor to build. We're talking about thousands of people working together, moving tons of earth and stone using only simple tools made of wood, bone, and bronze. This kind of large-scale construction project points to a powerful central authority, a leader or ruling group capable of mobilizing and directing a huge workforce. It suggests a hierarchical society with leaders, warriors, artisans, and farmers all playing their part. Why did they build this massive settlement? The name Hilfert itself suggests a defensive purpose. The Late Bronze Age was a time of increasing conflict and social unrest across Europe. The impressive ramparts of the Brussels town ring would have offered significant protection from rival groups. From their high vantage point, they could see enemies approaching from miles away. It was a safe haven, a fortress city where the community could live and work under the protection of its formidable defenses. However, the site was likely much more than just a fortress. Its sheer size and the evidence of extensive trade and craft suggest it was also a political and ceremonial center. It might have been the capital of a powerful regional chiefdom. People from the surrounding countryside would have come here for markets, for festivals, and for protection. It was the heart of their society, a symbol of their identity, power, and prosperity. The discovery of Brussels town ring is so important because it provides a new model for understanding Bronze Age settlement. Previously, archaeologists thought that large, town-like settlements, a process we call nucleation, didn't really happen in Ireland until the Viking or Norman periods, much later in history. This find pushes that timeline back by over 1,000 years. It shows that complex, urban-like societies could and did emerge much earlier than we thought. It also connects Ireland more closely with developments happening in other parts of Europe. Similar large, fortified settlements were emerging on the continent around the same time. The Brussels town ring shows that Ireland wasn't an isolated backwater but was part of these wider European trends of population growth, social complexity, and conflict. What's next for the Brussels town ring? Well, the research is far from over. The team has only excavated a tiny fraction of the site. There are still hundreds of houses and vast areas within the enclosures left to explore. Future excavations could reveal even more details about the daily lives of the inhabitants, their social structure, their beliefs, and their connections to the wider world. Each new discovery has the potential to add another chapter to this incredible story. This finding is a powerful reminder that history is constantly being rewritten. The past is not a fixed, static thing. It's a dynamic puzzle that we are continuously piecing together with every new discovery. The secrets buried beneath the green hills of Ireland have waited 3,000 years to be told, and they are completely transforming our vision of the ancient world. It shows us a Bronze Age that was more populated, more complex, and far more sophisticated than we ever dared to imagine. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. What do you think about this discovery? Does it change how you picture the ancient world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about amazing archaeological discoveries, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.